Hey everybody, this is Mr. Mathblog. This lesson is describing angles in plane shapes. So we're going to have some larger angles, some smaller angles. So let's talk about that, you guys. So our common core strand is the same, and how can we describe? There should be the word angles in plane shape. Whoops, let me do that. Angles in plane shape. Okay, so how can we describe angles in plane shape? Let me save that real quick because I send this to teachers in my school district. Okay, all right, here we go. So an angle here, you guys, here's an angle over here to the right here. So this angle um, right here is formed by two rays. Remember, rays have a starting point. The books call them endpoints, and it goes forever in one direction. So there's an arrow right there, and here's another ray over here. So the arrow goes in that direction. So they share the same endpoint right here. Okay, and so that endpoint is called the vertex. Okay, and so if there's more than one vertex, we call them vertices. Okay, so the plural for vertices. So here we go. John drew this shape on dot paper right there. So let's answer this. How many angles are in John's shape right here? Well, let's just go count them. Okay, so here's an angle right here. Now just pretend like that's a ray goes on forever and ever and ever. So wherever they have endpoints, where the endpoints meet, that is an angle. So there's an angle. Here's another angle. It goes from here to here. Here's another one down here. This would be the common vertex right here. The common endpoint goes up here, over here, and then here's another angle. So there's four angles and there's four vertices. But they want to know how many angles. There's four angles right there. Okay. So let's look at the angles in the shape that John drew. How can we describe those angles? So let's go ahead and describe them. So a right angle, you guys, is where, think of an edge of a piece of paper, you guys. That's a right angle right there. It makes a 90-degree angle. We'll talk more about 90 degrees later. But there's a right angle right there. And how you say right angles, how you show that is with these little box symbols. So if they have a little box there, then that means it's a right angle right there. And then so that would be a right angle. Some angles are opened up less than a right angle. Later on, we're going to learn, I think it's in fourth grade, I think it's going to be called an acute angle when it's less than a right angle. It's less than 90 degrees, okay? So this angle is definitely less than one of these. It's opened up less right there, okay? This angle up here, though, is bigger. So if we did that one right there, then that would be an angle that's greater than a right angle. So we'll talk about using the corner of a piece of paper in just a little bit, you guys, because the corner of a piece of paper is a nice right angle right there. If you have, regular old piece of like printer paper or something, or like a little sticky tab. If your teacher has sticky tabs, that would be a good thing to use as measuring right angles. Okay, so we have these things right here that are called right angles. Okay, like your walls. Typically, your walls in your classroom, they form at a right angle. Your floor and your wall is a right angle. So I'm looking down at my floor and how it meets the wall that goes straight up. That's a right angle. And I'm sitting here looking at one wall meeting another wall. It makes a nice right angle. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time they do. They make right angles right there. Your ceiling and your walls usually make right angles right there. Okay, and things that are opened up less than a right angle, this one's opened up less than this one right here. So this one said it's going to be less than a right angle. Okay, this one is opened up more than a right angle. If it was a right angle, I would go straight down right here and it would be a right angle with this guy, but this one's opened up more. And if I was going to make a right angle over here, I'd go straight up. Okay, so this one's opened up less than a right angle. Okay, all right, so let's look at John's shape again right here. So there's this is John's shape. So we have two of the angles are right angles right here, and how many angles are we're going to answer this part right here. How many angles in John's figure are less than a right angle? Just this one right here. We have these two right angles. We have one that's less than a right angle, and we have one that's more than a right angle. So that's what goes in those two blanks right there. Okay. All right, so how do we know when an angle is greater than or less than a right angle? Okay, so if you look at the edge of a paper, so this is like a little sticky note that your teacher probably has. I have yellow ones in my classroom. Sometimes I have green ones, but right now I have yellow ones on my desk in my classroom. And if you look at the edge, that's a perfect right angle, so we can use this as our measuring tool for other angles. And so I'll show you that here. So an angle that's opened up more. So if I take this and shrink that up, now remember this right here is a right angle. So if an angle is opened up more, then it's going to be more than a right angle. So if I put that right there, can you see how this angle is opened up more than that right angle? So it's just more than a right angle. Okay, later we'll learn about that being called an obtuse angle, but that's, I think, in fourth grade. Here's an angle that's opened up less. Okay, if I shrunk that up again and put that corner over there, let's see, right there. Okay, right there would be the corner. Oh, you can't see that very well. Let me do this. I know it'll. No, I'll just cover it right up. How did I do that? What did I do? Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, let me move that over. Okay, can you see that that one's opened up less than a right angle right there? So, because the right angle is this guy, and this one opens up less. It goes inside, so it's an angle that's smaller or less than a right angle. So that's how we can tell. So how many angles are in this triangle over here? Well, that one's pretty easy. We just count where the endpoints are. So here's one angle, here's one angle, here's one angle right there. So there's 3 angles right there, okay? So let's use the corner of this sheet of paper that we have right here and tell whether the angle is a right angle, an angle that's less than a right angle, or an angle that's greater than a right angle. So I'm just going to do that with all of these. So they want us to focus on the blue angles right here. So we're going to focus on this one, and on this one. Now typically if you see that little box, that means right angle. That's code word right angle. So let me move that out of the way. Okay, so can you see that this one is opened up greater than the right angle? Okay, if we put this over here, that one's opened up less than the right angle, and that one is a right angle right there. So that one's greater than a right angle, that one's less, and that one is a right angle right there. All right, so write how many of each type of angles that we see in each shape. Okay, so we got 3 different figures right here. Okay, now the boxes right here means that we have right angles. There's 1, 2, there's 3 right angles. So I'll put a 3 in right here. I don't see any boxes in here, so I'll put a 0 in here. And this one has 4 right angles, okay? So there wouldn't be anything that are less or anything that are greater because all of these ones are all 4 right angles, okay? And what I'm going to do is use that sheet of paper to figure out the rest of them right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the what we just talked about right there, the right angles. Okay, so we know that there's 3 right angles because there's 3 little square marks right there, so 3 right angles. This one has 4 of them, so these ones are zeros right here. Okay, and then let's see, I forgot what I did next. I'll come back. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and so we're just going to focus on these 2 angles now because we know that these 3 are right angles. Is this one opened up more or less? And how about this one? Well, we can just use our piece of paper right there and just line it up and see if it's opened up more or less. So I'm just going to put that right there. Can you see that one's definitely opened up more? And same with this side over here. So there's 0 of them that are opened up less, and 2 of them that are greater than a right angle right there. Okay, how about this guy right here? This one doesn't have any right angles. This one right here doesn't have any right angles, so let's go ahead and put that in there, 0 right angles. All right, and then let's see about these angles here. Okay, let's look at this. I'm looking at the top left-hand corner right here. Can you see that this angle right here is opened up more than this right angle right here? So there's one angle. We can figure out that the same is happening on that side. So there's another one that's opened up more than one right angle. And then these guys on the bottom, they're opened up less. So this one we're going to put, there's 2 that are greater than a right angle and 2 that are less than a right angle right there. Okay, hope that makes sense, you guys. All right, you guys. I hope you guys are doing well, and we're right now in that coronavirus quarantine, and so I've been sitting at home for the last 3 weeks. All right, take care.